Hey guys, welcome to part one of my Think-aloud series here. I am going to be writing an essay along with you guys here because I want to sort of show you my process for writing an essay, especially about a literary criticism like we are doing now. So I have my assignment pulled up. This is our prompt. Remembering that it's really just about heroism and where we see heroism represented in the world, how we see it represented, how has it changed over time. Lots of different sub questions that we could focus on. I'm going to choose to follow the thesis statement that I started in class but never really finished, so that I can show you my process for refining a thesis statement, and my explanation why. But remember that you can write about things that are not unrelated, but not the same as what I'm writing about. Different things about heroism. You can disagree with me. You can write about the opposite perspective. There's lots of different ways that you could take this. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to set mine up. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do, just this is the way that I like to write, is set up my MLA format. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to hit different first page on my header. I'm going to type my header here, which is not in my actual header, by the way. It is just the first lines of my text. Now, I'm going to use Johnny Student. This would normally be your name, but I'm pretending to be Johnny Student here. And then you would write your teacher's name, and then the name of the class, and then the date it is due. Oh boy, when is this due? Day before spring break, which, of course, I know is, I don't have to go look at my calendar or anything. 20th. It's the 20th. Okay. March 20th, 2026. Okay, a single space here. I'm going to get it centered. I'm going to put title. And then I would hit enter if I was going to start, but I already have some words. It's all so close together. Oh, I got an extra space there. So I'm going to either hit Control A or just highlight everything. I'm going to go to that double spacing. Nope, that's centering. Not bad. Go to double spacing. This should be centered. Notice that the title is not a different font. It is not bolded. It is not a bigger size. It is the same size as everything else. There is nothing up here. When I get to my second page, I will be adding a header there that has my last name and the page number. This is all I'm going to do for MLA format to start with. This is not, I don't really know. So this is gonna be a little bit of a loose video here because that's what the writing process is. I don't know if I like this for my thesis so much right now, but it might stay in my intro paragraph. I think what I need to determine is what I expect a hero to be. So a hero is someone who's compassionate, and like, if I'm thinking about the values of our American society, a hero is somebody who represents the values of their society the most, I think. Could kind of be its own thesis statement, but I'm trying to prove that Odysseus, though he's not necessarily considered a hero by our modern standards, one of the important things is that he was skillful enough to act, which is not something that has changed from heroes as they are represented in media today. We see superheroes, they have the skills to act. We see heroes like, I don't know, like The Pursuit of Happiness, like an everyday hero, but he's still got the skills to act. And so I think that's sort of my point. So how do I say that? So I'm going to say it in really bad words first, and then I'll make it fancier. I'm going to make this kind of reorganize all this in a second. But so though the qualities we would expect a hero to possess have changed with time, the idea that they must be competent, no, I'm not even going to say competent. I'm going to say exceptional in their skills has remained an important factor in whether or not the reader considers them a hero. So my first draft of my thesis, not super happy about it. If I was a teacher and I was grading this thesis, I'd probably give this a 2. It's not terrible. It's arguable. It's just a little vague. It's a little broad. I haven't talked about the Odyssey at all, which I want to do because I am talking about that in my essay. So, though the qualities, it's got second person word in there, we would expect a hero to possess have changed with time. The idea that they must be exceptional skills and whether or not the reader considers them hero. Let me give you a tip here. Your best friend in a thesis statement is going to be the semicolon. Almost a little bit of a cheat code, almost a little bit of a crutch, but hey, at the level we're at, I think it's perfect. Though the qualities we would expect a hero to possess have changed with time, the idea that they must be exceptional in their skills. Exceptional in their skills. This is wordy too. There's a lot of problems with this. And whether or not, why am I getting a blue line here? Well, it's not even telling me. Considers whether the reader considers. Let's see here. I want to include Odysseus. I want to include the Odyssey. Okay, I'm gonna keep brainstorming in my bad writing. Yeah, okay, this is bad because I already used though at the start of the first sentence. Though Odysseus may seem prideful, that's not right. Brash, prideful. Wow, is he brash though? No, he's not. He's not brash. May seem devious, prideful. Okay, wait. Put these in an order that makes a lot of sense, right? Organization. Prideful. What are some other flaws that he has? I want to say devious at the end because I think that's the most devastating one. Prideful. Opportunistic. Oh, and devious. He has the skills to pay the bills. No, I might say that later in the essay, but in my thesis I want to be a little bit more formal. Although Odysseus may seem prideful, opportunistic, devious. So, sorry, there was a cut there. Sorry, I just sat here thinking for a minute, and that's part of the writing process too, is just thinking, sitting and thinking. And I think what I sort of determined is that I want to talk about how heroes should be judged by their actions. And so I'm going to work that in. I might actually start over, which is another part of the hero's process. Or maybe I might take the last sentence there. So though Odysseus, it's not even may seem, is often boastful, opportunistic, and even devious. He often, it is shown, would be passive. He often completes tasks, accomplishes things. He often meets his goals. He often he does what needs doing. And much like the modern superheroes, not our society, because that'd be a second person word, the modern superheroes on the silver screen. No, I don't like that. The silver screen being movies. Much like the modern heroes, and much like superheroes that are incredibly popular in current society. It's clunky. I'm going to come back and look at that. Um, Though Odysseus is often boastful, opportunistic, and even devious, he does what needs doing. And much like the superheroes that are incredibly popular in current society, proves his heroic worth with his actions, not his personality. Okay, all right. I'm at a place where I can work with this. If I was grading this as a teacher, I have specific, I got my pencil here, like I'm pointing at it. I see my Odysseus here, so I know I'm talking about the Odyssey. I know I'm talking about a specific character and his heroism. Am I talking about heroism at all? His heroic worth. I might want to boost my sort of understanding that this is about heroism in the first part of my sentence. That's something I can think about for revision. But I can tell that as I'm reading this essay, two things are going to happen. I'm going to learn more about Odysseus's flaws, okay, because I'm talking about him being boastful, opportunistic, and devious, and I'm going to compare him to modern superheroes. So I'm probably going to bring up specific examples from modern society. I'm probably going to talk about Spider-Man and Superman and Batman and all of the popular superheroes, and compare them to Odysseus, which to me sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm excited for it. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stop there for now, because if I was a student in my own class and I was writing this essay, this is where I would stop for now, because I don't want to revise this thesis now until I have the rest of my essay, because then I want to come back and just make sure that everything that I've talked about in my essay is present in my thesis. It all, connects. And then that's the way that I can sort of get it up to a 4. Because like I said, right now it's kind of only a 3. And there's some clunky wording in there. So now that I have my thesis, I'm going to take a look and see if there's anything that I want to keep from my failed attempts here, my sort of first attempts. Because sometimes when we do that, we can still use that stuff in our introduction, just not our thesis statement. So I kind of like maybe this part here. America has trained its citizens to think that a hero is somebody who's simply kind, has empathy, and is altruistic, however, without the skill of those. Like that is kind of a thesis in its own right, but I think I'm just going to use it as my hook for now. Can always revise it later. And I think this stuff is just repetitive, and I say it both up and down here. So I'm going to delete this. And for now, I'm going to have this, knowing that intro paragraph is not complete. It is just my thesis statement that I'm mostly worried about. And then I'm also think I'm saving this. I might use it, might get rid of it later. Not sure. So that was my think aloud about thesis statements. Hopefully it was helpful and not just long-winded and boring. But if you have questions, let me know.